Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author podcast.
Maybe that can be the Easter egg with some weird individuals who listen.
Maybe this is just how we start the show now.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Fuck it, let's just roll with it.
I have mixed feelings.
Roll.
Hello, Achievers, and welcome to episode number 42 of the Next Level Author podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business eye. That's the plural, right? My name's Daniel Wilcox, and here with me every week is
Sacha fucking Black.
Do I sound? I don't know if I sound awake yet. I feel like I'm still a bit like.
You sound like when we get on Zoom really early in the morning, and you're a little bit husky because like you still have a bit of sleep hangover.
Yeah, this is the first thing we're both doing in the morning, pretty much. I think. Maybe.
Also, I find it concerning that I know that about you.
Yeah.
I don't think too much.
There's not much more to uncover.
Well, I don't know. I explored it fast.
Yes, but yeah, how's Sacha Black been this week?
Well, Sacha has been better this week. She wrote lots of words, and that always helps her sanity. Like I genuinely. I mostly find that.
Oh, generally.
Yeah, that.
We are writers.
Yeah, I mostly find that my sanity is correlated to how many words I write in a week. I mean, I nearly called the cat Atlas. Grim, could you just not? I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by, please.
Standing by.
Let me go then, cat. Come on. It's not the kids, it's the animals, honestly, I swear. So my week has been better because I have written more words, and I beat my biggest ever record of words yesterday, which is great. And like I don't know, I feel very weary with this whole lockdown nonsense, and I'm just like, do you ever get like when you're in a project and you literally like it's a genuine feeling that you really are not sure if you can make it to the end, and then somehow like you do make it to the end? Like there is a point in every project where I'm like, I actually genuinely in my core don't know if I can finish this book.
Interesting.
And I feel like I'm there with the lockdowns. Like I just genuinely don't know if I can do this. I just and of course I'm gonna have to, because you know I can't stab Boris in the eye. So apparently that's illegal. So
I think it's frowned upon.
But is
no,
it
it's illegal.
So many people hate him. So many people are pissed off. Like, and all the other, I don't know. Yeah.
Also,
I
just
don't know.
side note, it really, really upsets me that just even having to say like Boris is like the name of our prime minister. Boris.
Yeah.
Boris.
Let's call him Bojo. It's so much better. It's almost like beat blowjob, but let's.
That's not a conversation I want to have with my prime minister. I'll be honest.
It's about as good as I think I think he's a bit of a useless rag, to be honest, so whatever. Anyway, let's move swiftly on. How was your week, darling? Also, that's like a genuine question for me now to you, because like I never see you anymore.
I know.
I never see you. This week, I just don't know who you are.
No, this week has been intense. Because I've had the kiddo for most of this week, juggling homeschooling with getting work done. Genuinely have no idea how you've done it for so long. Genuinely don't. And I'm just in a bit of a fog of like I'm in a bit of a mixed fog of like exhaustion, but also positivity, because I've done things this week and like formulated
amazing things.
And formulated like my path ahead. And I found what I have discovered this week was that I've got about 6 or 7 different projects I kind of could work on. And well, I think we mentioned it last week or a couple of weeks ago about once you've made the decision, it removes everything else. So I've made a decision this week, and I've actually started proactively doing some stuff towards one of the projects, which is exciting. And I now have the direction, and my tablet's beautiful, and it's helping me organize lots of things and getting just more on with it. And yeah, we'll jump straight into things that we've enjoyed, because this was one of the things that I've enjoyed was yesterday in my boot camp. Normally the boot camp runs on a Saturday for 3 hours over lunch and then 4 hours in the evening. But because I needed to catch up on a bit of work, I basically just left it open all day for anyone to jump into and get involved in, and made a challenge for myself to have a 10,000 word day, and ended up getting challenged by one of the boot campers to see who could write the most over the duration of the day. And between us, we accrued 27,000 words.
Yeah, that's just two people. I just want to point
just
that was
me
just
and
two people.
Former Great Writer Share guest Samantha Frost, and yeah, I hit my own personal PB, which was 14,500 words yesterday, which was helpful in catching up with work that I hadn't done. So yeah, that was my thing that I enjoyed. But it was really nice because it's been we did a NaNoWriMo bootcamp in November, and obviously with that you have a lot more of like a community goal of all trying to like jump for that 50,000 word mark. And since then people have been trickling away at their own projects and doing their own thing, which is awesome. That's the whole point of bootcamp. We've just been doing it together, but having a bit more of like the challenge, I guess, yesterday was just, it added a bit of an interesting dynamic to it. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay, so the thing I have enjoyed this week, I also enjoyed yesterday's challenge, which is why I'm saying you should repeat it, albeit not always on a weekend, maybe, only because then I can't always join in. But the other thing I have enjoyed, because I better choose something different, is Meat Market by Juno Dawson. Now, I can't remember if I recommended Clean by Juno Dawson on this podcast or my podcast, but I definitely think I recommended Clean at some point. Anyway, so I read Clean before Christmas, and this is the second one in her London trilogy. But they're completely different characters. So this book is about a young 16-year-old, 17-year-old girl who gets talent scouted, and she becomes a model. And it's like a really stark look at the modeling industry and what it's really like. And Juno pulls no punches. And yes, it's a YA book, but like she's, I don't know, like it's dark, it's gritty. I love Juno's sass, like she writes really good sassy banterish characters. This one is slightly less banterish than Clean. Clean was about a 17-year-old who had a drug addiction and went to rehab. This one is about a model, and yeah, and it's won a bunch of like YA awards as well, and it's extremely bingeable, and I'm finding it very hard not to just spend the rest of today reading it, to be honest, just so I can get through it, because I want to find out what happens.
You've been slamming books.
I have. I think that's my 8th book, and this month.
Jesus Christ.
And I will probably finish my 9th book when I cook later on, because that one's an audiobook. That's my only audiobook this month, I think. No, maybe I think I had one that I finished earlier in the month. Anyway, I only read about 1 or 2 audiobooks a month. Most of the books I read are paperbacks. But yeah, that will be my 9th book. I think some of them were short though, to be fair. And you have to remember, that is what I do in the evening. So that's why I get through books. I don't know. I don't do a Dan and work all evenings.
Just for people watching on the video, I'm having a lot of interruptions from my parents who don't realise that when my door's shut, I'm working. We're fine. They're gone. They've left.
Okay.
Yes. Cool. I'm totally fair enough now. Where am I? So we've done things we've enjoyed.
Confessional.
Weekly confessional. Yes, weekly confessional.
Or is it? So we've got comments. We've got.
It's weekly confessional.
Success. Okay.
So my challenge was to write 20,000 words of my ghostwriting project and start my social media rollout. I've done that. I think I've done 29,000 words this week, and that's on top of homeschooling. Jesus. And my social media updates, like I've changed all my covers everywhere, like banners and things. I've plotted out what I'm doing. I've got new branding on my Instagram, which I'm rolling out. That seems to be going very, very successfully, so I'm quite happy with that. And it feels good to finally be rolling that out, not only because that's part of our next level challenge that I put myself down for, but also it's just something that's I've been wanting to do for about 6 months. And finally just giving myself the time to go, okay, what's this going to look like? How's this going to work? But a big part of it has also been, and this gets a bit more into sort of like the design side of stuff, but I've only really in the last couple of months narrowed down my brand in terms of like colors and what I want visually to represent. And, you know, that comes across with my website. It's coming across with the different posts and different things. And yeah, I've just made it happen. We are a room full of interruptions today.
Oh my God. This is actually why we don't record on a weekend though. Like let's be real about this.
Yeah.
And both of us didn't have the chance to do that on Friday, and that was a mistake on our behalf. So cool. This is real life, guys. This is the life of an author. You never get 5 minutes without an interruption.
Literally. Sacha will continue working on side characters.
I did. I have written 7,720 words on that project this week, which is really good for me. I think like a good week for me normally is like 5k. So to have written 7,720 is excellent. So I'm really pleased. Next week, I can't write at that pace because I'm really nearing the completion, I think. And so because I'm all over the place when I write, I really need to slow down and like read the chapters and see where there's duplication or where things are in the wrong place and start piecing it together. However, I also am acutely aware I haven't worked on my challenge. And so, I mean, I don't know whether I am going to do, I really need to do that next week, but it just depends what happens. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway,
there we go.
Yeah.
Smashed it. So I want to remind everyone about the Next Level Authors Challenge, because we have, I think 1 week we've said we're going to basically do a summation episode of how people have gotten on next week, because we've had a bunch of people on the Facebook group who have called out all the things they want to do, what they wanted to achieve between when it was announced, I think at the beginning of December to the end of January. And I'm just going to shout the names of the people I've got on the list, just to, you know, kick fire in your asses and make sure that you're doing what you're doing. So Meg Jolly, Kerry Hardisky, Holly Line, David Corkett, Faye Trask, Victoria Williams, Rianne Stephanie, Lucy Mitchell, Ida Duck, Casey Ryan, Caitlin Duncan, Renee Gallant, and Stephen Aitchinson. And there might be 1 or 2 more that I have missed, but get your asses in gear because you have 1 week remaining. And there's still time. Anyone who wants to, you know, make sure they're getting things done. The prize for the winners is 1 30-minute coaching call with myself, 1 30-minute consulting call with Sacha, and a runner-up will get a signed copy of The Anatomy of Prose. And just to clarify, that's 1 prize per person. And also, I think while we're on the subject of next level authoring and leveling up, I think we should probably make a nod to what is currently on our bellies.
Mine's on my tits, so, you know.
So we have merchandise.
We do, but for people listening who cannot see, I wonder if we can drop a photo in the show notes, maybe.
Yeah, find a way to do that. Yeah, but it's our I'm a Next Level Author t-shirts are now available, and there'll be a load of extra designs for like mugs and things, like bags and pillows and loads. Basically, the whole cohort that Redbubble allow. But yeah, we'll put that live and make sure there's a link for that in the show notes for anyone that wants to get involved and support their passion for being a next level author. Patreon, we have a new patron. It's so exciting when this happens.
It is exciting.
Yeah, we literally message each other like, oh, another one. This week we have Nicole Kaya. So hi, Nicole, welcome to the clan. Nicole's one of my boot campers and she's just an all-round awesome, amazing person. So thank you for your support, Nicole.
Yes, we really, really, really appreciate it, especially in this climate, because like, I know it's difficult for every single person at every single level of life at the moment. So like double thank you, triple thank you, always double thank you, but you know, like especially big. I'm like dead on the inside. So like the fact that I'm trying to hug you digitally is a lot. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And for people who are our patrons, if you've not yet listened, we did our live Patreon Q&A last Monday, and we've got another one next month. I can't remember the exact date, but all the details are on the Patreon page over at patreon.com/nextlevelauthors. Comments from last week. Sacha Black, are you ready?
Well, I am in that I put them in our Slack channel, but I'm not in that my Slack was closed.
Okay, I'll stall. So the question of last week was, how are you inefficient? Question mark. Ready?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, apparently I'm inefficient with comments.
The answer should have been, yeah, we're inefficient in preparing for the show. Like we
are
prepare
so
for the show,
fucking inefficient.
but when
at
we sit down to
preparing for
record,
this
we just
show.
get chatting for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I think that there are a few more comments in the Facebook group, but when I did the comments, this was the comments that I had. So I've just got 3 here. So Edwin Downward says, my big issue continues to be time management. I have set time aside to get tasks done, but I struggle to make the best use of it when it arrives. I definitely sympathize with that at times, especially I would say when I'm overwhelmed. Then I sit down and I just become like this big blob of inefficiency. So Kari says, I have so many goddamn side hustles, I have trouble keeping all the plates spinning. Then I get excited about something else and up goes another plate. The goal this year is to find a system. I know who that sounds like. I have the goal this year is to find a system to manage my must-dos for my business and my love-tos for my soul. I love that differentiation.
Yes.
And since I can't squish a few more hours into the day, why not? I need to find a way to up my word count so I can maximize the time I do have. And Kalina says, my problem is my ADHD brain can't simply work on one thing at a time. So I'll have multiple projects going on at once, which of course slows me down.
Yeah, it kind of comes back a little bit to what I hear a lot from Zach Bohannon when he talks about his different projects is, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. When you talk about the things that you love and trying to like get excited about stuff. And I think that's a real, like, I think that attitude comes from a position of privilege in terms of being able to like pick the project you are working on, depending on like how far along in your career that you are. But yeah, it's a good way to sort of differentiate once you get a bit further down the line. Okay, question of the week. Here it comes.
My gut just rolled with anxiety.
Wow. The power. All right, so the question is, what single change, because I know what you're like, one change, one thing, individual, no multiples, what single change had the biggest impact on your writing career?
I literally have no idea.
I think it's a good one because this springs a little bit off of, if you're inefficient last time, what was the efficient change that had a big impact on your writing journey? Did you want me to go first?
Yeah, no, because then you're going to talk and then I'm going to not have thoughts in my head. I just need to be silent for a minute because this is hard because I don't know. Yeah, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. First. I have so like the problem is, and I look at me saying you go first and then talking immediately, so you can't actually go first. The where I'm at is that there are so many different ways I could answer this, and the other problem is that some of the things that I would answer this with, I have already said before, and then there's like, and I don't know what. I mean, the obvious answer is publishing my first book, but that feels like a really limp answer. And I feel like I need to find something that I like stopped doing or did differently. And that's something that I am struggling with because I don't think I have ever done a massive change. I've just tweaked and iterated. There is, excuse me, I think I hear you say one thing. I heard you, I acknowledged you, and I ignored you. It is either, right? I would say it is either accepting my writing process, which I probably did on this podcast, because I have to say, since I accepted my writing process, writing books has got an awful lot easier. or realizing how competitive I am, because
Mm.
that has changed. Pardon me. That has changed everything in such a good way, because I know how it is such a driving force. I can use it at every level of my business in order to push myself to do the stuff that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say it was probably one of those. And that doesn't feel like a very good answer. I don't know if I've gone at the right angle.
No, but I think what it can do is, if there's not realizing your competitiveness is a positive and accepting your process, what it does highlight is that for some people it is a compounding of little things that just snowballs.
Yes, that is so true.
And for some people it's not necessarily just a monumental change triggers the result. It's okay, tweak. Like you said, it's tiny things that have tweaked along the way.
Okay, so then here is a better answer. For me, it is the acceptance and intentional learning. So I intentionally change every day. Every day I look at my processes. So yeah, I would say it is the biggest change is me embracing change, I suppose, in that I know that I need, in order to continually improve my business, I have to constantly look at what I've done, where I want to be, and how I can improve my process along the way. And I think the biggest part of that I've changed my mind again. No, and I'll tell you why, because it's linked to what I just said. A really long time ago, I couldn't accept feedback, and lots of people think I can't accept feedback because I'm really boisterous and like gregarious, even though I'm like, when you know me, I'm very unconfident, and like I don't really, like, I'm quite introverted in that I don't really get my energy from people, even though when I'm in a room of people I can still command like a room. Anyway, so because of that, people were like, oh, she can't take feedback, and so people like rarely gave me feedback. And then one day I realized that if I listened to feedback, and this happened in the Students' Union, I was in the role as president, and I had a 360-degree review, and it fucking broke me, because everyone was like, oh, or just like a bunch of stuff that I can't really remember, but it had such a lasting impact on me that from that point forward, all I ever did was accept feedback. And I was really open to it. And in being open to feedback, I have improved over and over and over and over and over again. I've improved my writing, I've improved my marketing, I've improved my branding, and sometimes I won't always listen to the feedback, and that's fine, because it's not in line with my values or my or my care, my fucks, whatever. But for the most part, I am really, really open to feedback. And I think that change in me, even though it happened before really I was interested in having a writing career, I think that openness has had the biggest impact, because we have so far to go with writing. Like, I have developed so much in the last few years, and yet there is still so far to go. And the only way I can continue to grow is if I continue to acknowledge and accept feedback. So there's my answer. I had to walk around the houses to get there.
Yeah, I think we got like 5 along the way.
I'm sorry,
no,
but if you don't prepare me, the thing is, if you don't prepare me, I'm going to have to talk it out to work out what it actually is. But I got there in the end. So that's my one change.
Yeah. So in answering with 1, you've given 5. That's awesome. No, it's really good as well, because I think it's accepting that this is, and this word I am beginning to get sick of, but it's very, very applicable. It is part of the journey. It's part of the process. And I think a lot of people feel like they're aiming towards a destination, and the minute you feel like you're there is where you stop. And the minute people give you feedback, it fights against you feeling like you've achieved the end of whatever this is. And I think
whereas I don't feel like that anymore. I don't.
I am so past ever feeling like I'm done.
Yeah, all I see when I see feedback is an opportunity to make it better, and I just grab that and run with it. Whereas like when I was like 18, I was like, oh, I'm shit, I'm worthless because somebody said X, Y, and Z. Whereas now I'm like, oh, wicked, now I know how to fix this problem, or and that is a real And I probably was about 19 or 20. No, maybe I must have been older because I must have been in the student junior. So I must have been about 21 when I made that change, I reckon.
Yeah. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Yeah, so I think mine boils down to so if there's one fundamental thing that I know that, when I was pursuing full-time authorship and wanting to improve my craft and everything else, I, jumping back to, it would be 2016, maybe even 2015, working a full-time day job, father to like a 2-year-old, in a relationship that kept me very, very busy. And realizing that if I wanted to be an author, I had to write, which, is, if you want to be a writer, write. But the one thing that actually compounded and helped me make any progress was just the realization that I would have to find hours in my day and make sacrifices. And the sacrifice I made, as I've said on this podcast before, is getting up early. And that's not, that's genuinely for my own journey. The thing that made the biggest difference was forcing myself to have that extra half hour in the morning, that extra hour in the morning, depending on what it was. And that allowed me to finish my first draft of a novel. That allowed me to work on everything that I worked on with Luke when we wrote our books together. It added hours to my day. It showed me the value of, because there's, and I know this is not something for everyone, and I know not everyone is a morning person. And people have their different ways of doing things. This just worked so effectively for me because there was such a power in, so pre-waking up early, you spend your entire day going, okay, I've got my words to get in. At lunchtime, I've got my words to get in the evening. And for me, it was a constant source of anxiety of, I need to make sure I get this done. Otherwise I'm failing as an author. Whereas once I got up early in the morning, I'd get my words done and the rest of the day was bliss. It was so powerful knowing that. And because I think it's more than just getting up early as well. I think it was the fact I was prioritizing myself. Because you go to your day job where you're working for someone else and everything that you do isn't for you, it's for someone else. And like, you get paid for the things you do. And, it's depending on whatever job you're doing. But for me, I felt like I was giving a lot to my day job, but I wasn't giving anything to myself. And in completing what I wanted to complete in the morning, it just, again, compounded and allowed me to write the books that I've written and get to the place where I am. And it's one thing that I come back to a lot, because we live in a world in which most people will stay up late. Most people will choose to.
I don't think that's true.
Right. So what I mean is that I was going to bed at like 9 o'clock because I was getting up at 5. Whereas my housemates, no, ignore that. My ex was going to bed at like 11, 12 and then waking up like later, like 7, 8, 9. And, I'm currently living back with my parents and they're on a schedule in which they go to bed at like 11, 12 and they don't wake up till like 8 or 9. So there's always a constant pressure for me to feel like I need to stay up with other people. But at the same time, going to bed early powered me and it allowed me to get up early. And then the getting up early was what worked with my day job. But what I find really interesting now is that even though I don't have to do that because I have the luxury of being a full-time author and my time is my own, there's still a constant pressure to be like, well, you're not getting up early enough. It's really strange. It's something I'm trying to like come to peace with what my process is now, because I do work well once I've gotten my heavy lifting done early. But yeah, that's the biggest change for me. It was hard, it was grueling, and for me, because I tried it before, and if you get up early, say, I could get up at 7, but I was getting up at 5:30, sometimes 5 o'clock. And for the first few days, it's hard because your body shouts at you and goes, what the hell is going on? And it wasn't until I'd read a few books and understood that, it takes like 3 weeks minimum before your body actually starts getting used to what you're doing, that you have to persevere and go through the slug of like dreary head and sleepy eyes and just kind of pushing through. But yeah, for me, it turned out worth it in the end. And that was the one thing that I can fundamentally say allowed me to get my stuff done.
I think it's really interesting because I definitely had a lot of the similar mindset, but I definitely did it at night. But for me, it was a reward for getting through the shit that was my day job. And so it powered me through my day job in order to get to the bit that I wanted most. in my day. Whereas I think and to be fair, I did try for like 3 weeks or a month to do like the 5 a.m. thing, and I just ended up having like 4 hours sleep a night, and it just was not. I am not a morning person. I will never be a morning person. I don't give a shit how Rod says. There are some people who are not morning people, and I am one of them. And and that's the thing. Like, and I know that because when I was at uni, and you have the freedom to choose when you do your sleeping, I more or less became nocturnal. But anyway.
So you just give me an idea for a book, so I'm writing that down.
It's the same. It's the same thing. I was doing the same thing, just in a different time frame. I was paying myself by staying up that bit later. And to be fair, it was grueling because I was tired after work, and I did have to force myself to do it. But I'm sure you had to force yourself up in the morning. And at the end of the day, it is just about this grit and grin and bear and get on with it, and finding what works for you, because mornings are not going to work for everybody, and evenings are not going to work for everybody. So you have to find what works for you specifically.
100%. Yes. Awesome. Cool. So our question of the week to you is, what single change had the biggest impact in your writing career? How are we leveling up our author business this week?
I knew you were going to ask that, funnily enough.
Yeah, because it's every week we ask that question.
I know. So I have a problem. I think I'm going to have to do an either or, I think. Because I have some other stuff I need to get done. So I don't actually know what I'm going to work on this week. So I'm going to say I'm going to write words, and I'm not going to specify which project, because I have 3 different things that I need to work on. So I'm going to write words, some words, or I will do audio stuff. So I'm going to write words, or I'm going to do audio stuff. And I'm being really vague because I haven't done any thinking about what stuff I'm going to do next week. So I'm finding it really hard to say, and I don't want to say something that I'm then not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am. Am I? Okay, I will have written down, because I've been basically, with my new digital planner, because I'm me and I can't really do it any other way, I've been designing my own pages to be writing. So I've basically created my own morning and evening journal. I've created my own page, which is quarterly business goals. I need to create some like review pages that I want to do for things that I want to track monthly. And the reason I'm making them myself is because I'm very, very specific about the things I know I want to track that aren't like, they're very, very individual to my business. So what I want to do is finish up those pages so that it's basically ready to go, because I've sketched out my quarterly goals in a notebook before that came, but I really want to cement what I'm aiming for each quarter, because obviously you're meant to do them in December, but I've not really had a lot of time to sit down and make it happen. So I want to do that, and then I can finally complete my Janet Murray content planner, because a lot of that relies on you knowing what you're doing over the next few months. And I know the projects I want to work on, and like I say, I've picked one, which makes it a lot easier, and got a cover for it this week. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish having templated those pages, finish the ghostwriting book, and begun my social content planning. Because the branding and everything's ready and done. I just need to be a bit more specific with what's happening over the next few months.
Wicked. I'm changing my accountability thing. So it's either working on audio or working on
just
creative, creative projects. I just want to change the wording. So like creative, because I've got a few things that I'm in a week where I'm making decisions and planning and changing directions slightly. So I want to make those, I don't want to be accountable for having to write words if I have to do thinking this week and make plans and decisions. So working on, this is really hard. I don't want to be accountable for anything this week.
That's not really the purpose of this podcast.
Yeah, I know, but I also know it's not like I know I'm going to work. I just
need to think on what.
Yeah.
Okay, what we'll do, have a think, and then I'll update the show notes when they come out.
Okay, cool. All right, and I will tell you. I tell you when I'll tell you. I'll tell you when I've done my Monday Facebook accountability group, because then I will have had the chance to think about what it is I need to do this week.
Okay.
You just caught me.
So for people listening, that'll be the day before this goes live. So
yes, so it will be updated. Yeah.
Cool. And one final reminder: Next Level Author Challenge over on the Next Level Authors Facebook group. Get involved, make it happen, win cool prizes. We have t-shirts. This has been fun. Dan out.
Bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writer Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
Next Level
authors.
I have to drink. You could always use me gagging on espresso as the what's it called? Angel egg, golden egg, whatever it is.
What? The angel egg, the golden egg, the Easter egg.
Easter egg. That's it. I really thought it was a golden egg for a second.